getting answers. From Sacramento's most watched late news. This is the CBS 13 News at 10.
A fast-moving fire forced a Series family to jump to safety from their second-floor window, and a baby girl among the youngest to be saved from the flames.
And they were reaching up for my baby, so I leaned her down, and I let her go, and they caught her right away.
It is quite a story, and that baby is fine tonight. Good evening, I'm Sam Shane.
And I'm Shannon Bernius. That fire destroyed a dozen apartments along Richland Avenue this afternoon. CBS 13's Maria Medina is live on the scene of this developing story with some of the amazing stories of survival.
And that fire spread quickly to two buildings. You can see crews have boarded up the windows. Firefighters believe that fire started underneath that walkway in a storage unit, trapping a family who lives on the second floor, forcing them to throw out their baby.
And the mom, she was just yelling in the window, "Just catch my baby, just catch my baby."
The desperate call for help came from one family trapped by the flames inside their top floor apartment.
As the flames were just right there, that's the scariest thing I've ever seen.
He says he grabbed his baby, and with his wife by his side, they ran to the only way out, their bedroom window.
They opened up the window. They had the baby in their hand. I said, "Throw me the baby."
And they were reaching up for my baby, so I leaned her down, and I let her go, and they caught her right away, and everything was fine.
In minutes, flames and smoke devoured 12 units at the Series apartment complex, many with no time but to run out with only the clothes on their backs.
Somebody opened the door and it was the Modesto police telling me to hurry up and get out. There's a fire.
I got on the phone with 911. They asked me for an apartment number. I said, well, it's not an apartment, it's a whole building.
Firefighters say it was an intense firefight from the beginning. The triple-digit temperatures caused the flames to spread quickly and exhausted crews battling the blaze. Everyone got out alive, but many waited by as firefighters searched the debris for missing pets. And in some cases, there were miracle endings.
Oh my God!
Now investigators will try to determine what caused the fire that likely started in a storage area and left many without a home.
I basically have to start all over. I mean, I'm glad we all got out safe, but still, you know.
And this fire was so intense that some of the firefighters were told had to rest for an hour, wait until their vital signs are okay before they came back to battle this blaze. Meanwhile, that mom and dad and baby, the ones who had to jump out that window and throw their baby out onto to people right here on the ground, we're told they are doing okay besides some cuts and bruises.
Well, that is a relief. Okay, Maria, thank you. A mosquito attack from above is underway tonight as crews spray a potentially harmful insecticide over one Sacramento neighborhood.
Pregnant people should not be exposed to this substance. It's going to be aerial sprayed.
The spray is meant to keep mosquitoes in check and prevent the spread of West Nile virus.
But the chemical they're using is one that a UC Davis researcher warns pregnant mothers should stay away from. A low-flying plane is spraying the neighborhood around Land Park until midnight, and new tonight, CBS 13's Nick James is there. He's live getting answers about the potential dangers posed by the spray. Nick?
Well, Sam and Shannon, the folks doing the spraying say they use just about 1 ounce of insecticide per acre. And put another way, that's like dumping a bottle of whiteout on a football field. But critics point to new research and say the plane that took off from McClellan tonight is putting people at risk, especially, they say, pregnant women. For the first time in 2 years, a low-flying plane will spray mosquito insecticide on Sacramento neighborhoods. The Sacramento-Yolo Vector Control District is noticing a significant uptick in dead birds and mosquitoes testing positive for the potentially deadly West Nile virus.
We need to act quickly to be able to decrease the abundance of potentially infected adult mosquitoes that could pose a threat to public health.
But there are renewed questions about whether the insecticide harms more than it helps.
This is the same product that we used in 2012. It's called Trumpet.
It's a type of chemical known as an organophosphate. A UC Davis study CBS 13 told you about just last week included organophosphates as the most common type of agricultural chemical pregnant women should avoid. The study links exposure to the chemicals to a 60% increased risk of autism.
As a physician, I'm concerned because organophosphates have a lot of symptoms. More people are put at risk than are helped.
Dr. Kelly Sutton says while West Nile impacts a tiny sliver of the population, the insecticide could carry harmful side effects for many. She says especially in light of the UC Davis study, it should not be used.
And in extreme cases, unconsciousness, convulsions, and severe respiratory depression and death may occur. So it's a poison.
The Vector Control District says their dosage amount is small enough to only impact mosquitoes and smaller insects. Asked directly about the new study, they say they're aware of it, but point out the insecticide is EPA approved.
There's only 2 classes of mosquito control products that we can use, and this has been used extensively throughout the United States.
The spraying will continue till about midnight tonight, and then will be again tomorrow between about 9 and midnight. The Vector Control District says that you don't have to go inside or take your pets inside. They say it's not a recommendation they make, but you can if it makes you more comfortable.
Well, Nick, given this new UC Davis study, you got to think this debate's probably only begun. So interesting report.
Far from over.
Thanks so much for that. Hot day, hot night. Many have been looking for any kind of relief from the triple-digit temperatures today, and the heat is actually lingering tonight.
I have my spray bottle, so I'm like spraying myself. We got fans that are battery powered.
All right, David, here we are. People are hoping it would cool down a little bit tonight with a Delta breeze.
Well, that Delta breeze isn't doing much because right now we're looking at temperatures in the low to mid 80s here at 10 o'clock. But eventually, obviously, we will start to cool down as we go overnight. But this is why it's taking so long to cool down. Look at the numbers from this afternoon. It was smoking hot all over the place. Yuba City saw 107, Sacramento 106, Stockton 105, Modesto 104, and you know it's hot when Pollock Pines comes in with a 91 up there into the western edges there of the Sierra. We do have a few high clouds out there. That's also most likely trapping some of the heat, not allowing it to exit and go back up into the atmosphere. We also, of course, have a big ridge of high pressure over the top of us, and that's why we were so warm today. The last time we saw something like this was about 3 weeks ago when we had that run, 3-day run of triple digits. But this high pressure is going to move off to the east courtesy of that. That's going to help to cool us down. Not a whole lot tomorrow, but we are trending in the right direction, so we'll have details on that. Plus, we'll talk about the longer range forecast potential that's out there with some cooler weather. And take a look at this. CBS 13 has a new weather app for your iPhone. Just download it and you'll get local forecast videos and all sorts of cool stuff. We're kind of putting it all together and making it, but it's going to be pretty fun stuff for your iPhone. So there you go. There's an app for that. Back over to you, Shannon.
There always is. David, thank you. New tonight, Democrat Betty Yee is her party's candidate for the state controller's office. Race officials announced today that Yee edged out her fellow candidate John Perez by fewer than 500 votes to finish second. So she'll be going up against Republican Ashley Swearingen in November. Also new tonight, honoring a California congresswoman. Sacramento City leaders recognize Representative Doris Matsui for her work to win federal money for levee improvements around Natomas. President Obama signed the bill approving the money a few weeks ago. That paves the way to lift the building moratorium in Natomas.
I always believed in what was important for Natomas. I really felt that 100,000 residents here really needed the flood protection they need and deserve.
City leaders hope with the money approved, they can get the building ban lifted sometime next year.
New tonight, Heald College is for sale. Its owner, Corinthian Colleges, is in financial trouble, and they have said they may have to close at the end of July. Heald has campuses in Rancho Cordova, Roseville, and several more in the Bay Area as well.
CNN is reporting Israel is launching airstrikes against Hamas after 3 missing teens were found dead.
These reports tonight say Israel is now focusing on targets in Gaza with intense airstrikes. Let's go to Christina. She has more now on what the Prime Minister of Israel is vowing to do.
Well, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says that Hamas will pay. Israeli troops moved into the West Bank village tonight as news spread and outrage grew. Israel blamed Hamas for the teens' disappearance and launched a frantic search. 400 members of Hamas were arrested in the crackdown. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu held an emergency cabinet meeting to respond to this discovery. Now, the United States is urging both sides to exercise restraint tonight.
We certainly would continue to urge that, in spite of obviously the tragedy and the enormous pain on the ground.
Now, the prime suspects, 2 well-known Hamas operatives, still have not been caught this evening. In a major blow to Obamacare, the Supreme Court ruled today some employers cannot be forced to cover contraception if that violates their religious beliefs. Betty Yu shows us the new exception to the rules.
I was excited. That's why we came up. Dawn Kaufman and her husband drove up from Salinas to the South Bay Hobby Lobby to celebrate what they called today's Supreme Court blessing.
Absolutely elated and thrilled. I got up this morning at 6 o'clock to go in the living room just to watch the news to find out what happened. And I'm just sick of the government, the way things have been going, not listening to people.
The High Court listened and ultimately sided with the owners of the Christian-based chain of arts and crafts stores. Its owners sued the government over the Obamacare requirement that they pay for certain types of birth control, like morning after pills and IUDs. They argued that their use is the equivalent of abortion. Today, the court ruled that for-profit small businesses are protected by the Religious Freedom Restoration Act.
What the Supreme Court said is that families do not give up their religious freedom when they open a family business.
I feel like as just an American, it's showing that you can go and still fight for what you believe in.
Under California law, Planned Parenthood said women will still get contraceptive coverage, but it worries about the ruling's broad impact.
It's hard to believe here in 2014 that we're still fighting issues of the ability of women to be able to make their own decisions in conjunction with their doctor about their personal medical health care around birth control.
Obamacare supporters have also called out the Kraft chain store for hypocrisy. They criticize it for spending millions on an employee retirement plan that invested in companies that make contraceptives and abortion drugs. At the same time, it filed the lawsuit.